Good evening, YouTube. Today, I just had a whole new picture of just how fragile life is, and it was a great day down here in the south of England. Hot, sunny, well, hot for us, 18.5 degrees if you can call that hot, but a nice change from the cold weather we've been having. And I was dropping a friend home down in the countryside, and it was a case of blasting back in my little yellow Mini, which you know I like driving, and blasting back, windows down, Robbie Williams pumping on the stereo, which was very nice. And I'm coming up towards this speed camera, and it's a stretch of road that's quite notorious near where we live, and coming up towards the speed camera, obviously slowing down, checking my speed, and I look up, and suddenly there's this weird thing, this silver car in the central reservation. It's kind of pulling across the turn in front of me, and this kind of explosion of black and blue coming off it, which I realised quite quickly is a motorbike, and then realised quite quickly that sort of somersaulting at high speed down the middle of the central reservation, grassy central reservation, is the rider, or the former rider, of that motorbike. And it's a very, very weird feeling. I think at the time I was in the outside lane doing 60 miles an hour, and suddenly realising that there's someone coming towards me on my side of the road, on this dual carriageway at quite a high speed. And you realise life is fragile, and I slammed on the brakes, I pulled over, stopped the car in the carriageway on the other side of the road, as this guy kind of came to a rest, almost level with me. Then realising that I was kind of blocking the road, I pulled forward up onto the verge and got out, and he was kind of moving a little bit. And I saw another woman stop. She was already on the phone to the emergency services. So I wandered over, and it's just, I don't know, one of those things. The guy was alive when they put him in an ambulance. They eventually, a couple of ambulances turned up. They put him on a board, put his head in a clamp and everything like this. And there was no kind of visible kind of signs of bleeding or anything like that. But it was one of those things where you just look at him going, flip, as he's cartwheeling down the road. They say your life flashes before your eyes if you're about to die, and I don't know if if he was even conscious of his life flashing before his eyes. His life was flashing before my eyes as I'm driving up towards him, about to run him over, and it was honestly going through my mind, his arms and legs going to come off, because it was just the most, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I've seen it on TV when people are racing and stuff like that, but to have it actually hurtling towards you down the carriageway, the dual carriageway, it was a very strange experience, and it just really got me thinking, as I stood there after the accident, and the police had turned up pretty quick. Actually, some off-duty officers who happened to be driving past, a number of paramedics who just happened to be driving past, and then the real guys turned up in the ambulances, and I was just kind of standing there. They asked us to stand there just to make sure, because he was lying in the road, in sort of a slipway off the road, and just to make sure no one was going to come. We had some sort of emergency triangles out, and then the fire brigade turned up and they put cones out and blocked the road off and everything. And I'm just stood there and I'm praying and just thinking about it, and you're just, what if he did die? What would he, he's just been out one afternoon zipping along on his bike, having fun. Someone pulled out in front of him. He's gone flying over the handlebars. He was probably doing more than 60 miles an hour, to be fair. I mean, he ended up, when the police questioned me about it, because I was a witness there, how far away was he from the point of impact? I reckon 70 metres. It could have been 50, it could have been 100. I'm not great at distances, but it was a long way. And, just to watch a guy flying through the air like a rag doll over that distance, I mean, I'm like, whoa. And, he didn't hit anything. Fortunately, there wasn't a car coming. If I'd been 15 seconds faster, he could have been piling into the bonnet of my car, and I don't think he would have survived that. The speed he was going, the speed I was going in the opposite direction. And you just think, if it had been the end of the life for him today, what would he have made of his life as he did whatever he did? The minute he left this earth, would he look back and go, cool, I did what I wanted to do, that's fine, it's my time? Or would he be or not living with regrets, things he hadn't done, things he hadn't said. And I guess it just rammed home that point to me today, that experience. And I know it's one of those things. On one level, it wasn't horrific because he was wearing leathers and there was no blood and there was no obvious like his leg at a right angle to his other leg or anything like that. He kind of looked all in one piece, and he didn't die on the scene of the accident. I don't know, if he will survive. Let's hope and I pray he does. But it makes you think, because it was out of the ordinary. It's not something I want to experience again. And although I wasn't kind of, in the immediate aftermath of the accident, I was pretty coherent. I was standing there, I was shocked by what I'd seen, but I wasn't like crying or freaking out like you might be if you saw something that was really kind of gruesome. But at the same time, it's very sobering, and they say don't drink and drive, and I don't drink, and I don't drive, and I've never driven when I've been drunk or anything like that, never been drunk. But I drove back from that sober in a whole new sober way of thinking about life, thinking about just how fragile it can be and how much we need to really make the most of what we do have, and how much you just can't know what's around the corner or what's going to pull out in front of you. And I guess, live every moment and know that when it is your time and it is all over, that you're not going to look back and regret what you didn't do or regret what you did do. So yeah, that's me today in a thoughtful mood. It was great out driving the minute. It wasn't quite so fun after that. I still had the music on, still had the windows down. It was still sunny, it was still warm, but I was a lot more thoughtful, and I still am a lot more thoughtful. So I think that's about it. Thanks for watching.